It's the Britt Rochelle Show. Do 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 do. That's me.
So what do you get when you mix half of a roguelike RPG, half a Diner Dash, mix it all up, and bake it for hours and hours of repetitive gameplay? What you get is a 2023 game, Cuisineer. You play as Pom, an adorable, cute little kitty girl who's just so tired after a long stint of adventuring and wants to come back to her hometown, see her parents, and take a nice long rest. That she does not get because joke's on her. You get to be saddled with your parents' old restaurant because they've retired and skipped town. And they're avoiding the tax man because they're in a lot of debt. Thanks, Mom and Dad! But the good news is you've got the help of all your anthropomorphic friends, like Biscotti, your bestie, who's just gonna help you as much as she can. And by as much as she can, you're pretty much gonna be helping her and all the other townsfolk with their errands so that you can then get recipes from them to put back into your restaurant. What did your parents leave you exactly? So the majority of the game is going to be bouncing back and forth between adventurous dungeon crawls on different islands, each with different biomes. Like the first one's very foresty, you're going to get a lot of your mushrooms, lots of flour and eggs, there's so many chickens. Eventually you'll move on to your molten caverns, which is where you'll get a lot of little spicy peppers for your tasty soups. You'll also come across a lot more assassin types, as I call them. They're little dudes that are chasing after you, trying to net you and end your dungeon run. But if you get them first, get some cool stuff that you need, like some tasty spice and some cheese. Really need more cheese. But those assassin guys are kind of a dime a dozen, so good luck. The controls are deceptively simple, just normal WASD controls, WASD. You move around, you point, you click, you swing. There are some buttons you'll use, like hitting 1 to use your Boba Refresher to replenish your health.
Oh! Oh! Oh god! I don't know if I'll make it through this one. This is the end. Alright, let's go.
Or your distance attacks are often used with E, I think, or you can just right click. It's pretty flexible and simple.
Nyah. 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 Nyah.
Yes! New shoes! Nice!
But just don't get too cocky. Just because it's simple doesn't mean there aren't consequences. Because as you go deeper and deeper into dungeons, you'll get greater and greater rewards. And the quicker you get through them, the more you're going to think, this is easy, what am I even doing? And then you get to that first time that you die and lose your entire inventory and all the ingredients you just worked so hard to get. Don't forget to buy that boba. You'll need it. It's definitely not as hard as something like Dark Souls, but if you're going into this thinking it's just some cozy game, then you've got another thing coming. The overall execution is real simple but effective. It's like if cozy games are just too boring for you, but Another Crab's Treasure was just a little too intense. So you've done all your adventuring, you've gathered some amazing ingredients from some now dead mobs. What do you do now? Time to get back to the restaurant and serve up some delicious dishes. A day at the restaurant's kind of like a level of playing Diner Dash, except you don't actually have to wait any tables, and you don't even have to cook any of the food. You pick what recipe you want, and they come and get it yourself. Only thing left to do after that is take their money. What are my menu prices, by the way? That's a little expensive. Must be that egg shortage. Allegedly, you will have to wait tables when the fancier customers come in, but I haven't had any fancy customers come in. We'll get to that. The two different game types do offer a unique kind of balance that I actually haven't experienced in a game before, which is pretty sweet, because days you spend at the restaurant, you're making a lot of money and you're increasing your reputation, which means more cool stuff you can upgrade your restaurant with. But that also means you're running low on ingredients, which means you'll quickly find that your customer base is a lot pickier than you might expect from a humble little village.
I want kaya toast.
I don't have the stuff to make kaya toast.
I want kaya toast.
I could make you something else.
I am leaving.
Okay then. Stock up on that for next time.
On the other hand, days that you're running out dungeon crawling are great because you're collecting ingredients you need for your restaurant, and you're getting XP for, you're just getting cool stuff going on. But that also means you're making no money, which means you're not paying the tax man, which means you're gonna be on the same island for quite a while. So you gotta pick and choose. You can't spend too much time in the restaurant, and you can't spend too much time dungeon crawling. As much fun as one of those is more than the other. You can upgrade just about everything in this game, especially the restaurant. I've mainly focused on upgrading the restaurant because I figured the more customers you get, the more money you make, which means more tax man gets paid off, which means more islands, which means more game progress. Hooray! I don't focus too much on gear upgrades, though honestly I probably should, because then I'd get through things a bit more efficiently and wouldn't lose so many ingredients dying in dungeons. But that's besides the point, right? One aspect I'm extremely annoyed by is the amount of time and effort I spent upgrading my restaurant so that I could attract more highbrow, fancy-dancy clientele. Because someone in the game told me early on that the nicer stuff I put in my restaurant, the nicer clientele will come in, and then they'll spend more money on food. They'll buy the higher tier recipes, right? So far, that has not been the case. I have put in a good variety of furniture to try to attract a good variety of clientele, and so far, it's the same NPCs coming in and buying the same damn food. In fact, the actual recipes that get purchased seems to only be affected by how high I've upgraded my appliances and if I have the materials to make said recipes. I've had not one single fancy person in, no matter how many gilded tables I put in. I have spent a good amount of time upgrading my appliances, but because of how long I ignored side quests, I've so far only unlocked one tier 4 dish, which is the highest the tiers go. So I guess I'll just have to wait and see if any fancy people come in to buy my fancy dish. And if any of this is sounding repetitive to you, just wait till you actually play the game. It's basically a year-long cycle, and it is on a calendar basis, so it's a literal year-long cycle of buy your boba, dungeon crawl, run your restaurant, pay the tax man, discover a new island, rinse and repeat for hours and hours. I'm sure there's some kind of end game, but I haven't reached it yet. I'll get there eventually. With the in-game calendar cycle, they do work in a lot of cute things like NPC birthdays and holiday events and little festivals that last for days on end. And those help a little bit, kind of cut the monotony of the gameplay, but it only helps so much, especially if you run out of what you need for the upcoming holiday, and then it's just kind of just another day dungeon crawling or running your restaurant.
Yeah, that's what I needed. More freaking flour.
Each time you repay the tax man, you do get a new island, which is great because you get new ingredients and new enemies. You have to learn just how to adapt to your new environment. But you'll find you're gonna adapt pretty quickly, and it's just gonna be like, yay! Oh, we're back to the same old stuff again. Okay, here we go. With that said, there are a couple of things that I could do personally that would probably enhance my gameplay and experience a bit more. Like, could actually manage to upgrade my gear. The most that I've done is replace this stinky little spatula with a Deba knife. Oh yeah, much better. But I could at least bother to take this bad boy to the weaponsmith and upgrade it further. Again, I would get past these enemies way more efficiently if I just made the knife a little sharper. I did start using my food buffs. Later in the game, Pom actually gets to eat her own recipes and get things like health buffs, strength buffs, even things like sweetness buffs. You can use against other non-sweet, whatever the opposite of sweet enemy is in that game. Again, haven't gotten that far, but I've gotten far enough. And I did finally stop ignoring the side quests. I probably would have gotten a lot of recipes a lot sooner and gotten things done a lot more efficiently, gotten a lot farther if I had not ignored my friends in need early on. Sorry, Porcini. The music's pretty pleasant throughout. The dungeoning music is intense when it needs to be. It really makes the battles seem a bit more bigger than they are, especially when the enemies are just so cute. I do feel bad killing all those piggies, but I need the beef.
Yes. Nice.
Oh, and if you're one of those people that doesn't like food sounds, people chewing and slurping, you'll either want to skip this one or turn your volume all the way down during the restaurant portions, because that's all you're gonna hear from the clientele. But hey, if you like ASMR, turn it up. Volume all the way to 100. Admittedly, it has been a while since I've played this game, but I do plan to eventually go back to it. There's just enough there for me to go back and see what's cooking, but not quite enough to keep me perfectly enthralled to the very last fight. Overall, I'm gonna rate this 4 out of 5 peaches. It's well designed and executed, just needs a little extra flavor. But let me know what you think. Have you ever played Cuisineer? Let me know on all my socials, which can be found at BrittRochelle.com. I've live streamed this on Twitch, and when I go back to it, we'll be live streaming it again, so come and join me on all my gaming adventures. And check out everything else that I've got to offer. I'm Britt Rochelle, thank you so much for watching, and stay peachy.